find out more what Fit is Fun is all about, we're joined by its founder, Mondli Linda, from our Durban studios. Mr. Linda, very good evening to you. Thank you so much and warm welcome to the Globe.
Good evening, Sam Piwe, and thank you for having me.
Well, I suppose that this is a matter that has been overlooked by, some authorities. Now, the Heart and Stroke Foundation said in a recent survey in 2016 that about 14.2% of primary school children in South Africa are already overweight. And if this trend continues, by the year 2025, about 3.91 million school children will be overweight. Now, we need to start diagnosing what the problem is, and rather the root causes of child obesity is. I mean, of course, there are those the factors such as lack of physical activity and unhealthy eating patterns. But what really is the root cause of child obesity?
Childhood obesity, it's basically, as you've clearly put it, the biggest factor is the lack of physical activity, which we normally take for granted. But we are talking about here a case where a child for a given age is weighing more than they're supposed to be weighing. That is why there is that chart where a child, even from birth, they go through to clinics and they're checked, and then you'll know whether they're the right weight or not. As it happens nowadays, we hardly let kids play, if I may put it in that way. There are many factors, be it safety, be it not having enough time to do it and all that. So as a result, you find that children are getting lesser and lesser time to play because we as parents are focusing more on controlling what they do as opposed to letting them just play. God allowed us to be physical by nature. So if we actually allow that to happen and to continue, we wouldn't be having a problem that we're having now. It's a worldwide crisis, not only in South Africa, and it's something that we need to tackle. Hence, we have an NPO such as Fit is Fun focusing on things like that, where we advise and actually come up with solutions to say this is what we can do and actually implement instead of just coming up and suggesting that. So basically, as Fit is Fun, one of the things, there's many that we do, is to actually make sure that children are going back to activities. Physical activity doesn't only mean exercise, by the way, because most of people think as soon as Mondli talks about physical activity, it's exercise, it's gym. We here talking about game time. Let them play. The choice of games you buy for them, for example, the video games that they're playing, is it interactive enough? Are they using their limbs? Are they actually jumping? Are they running? Those are things we need to look at as the children are growing, to actually make sure that they are growing at the right rate and the weight is exactly as it's supposed to be.
Yeah, now still on your organization, Fit is Fun, what prompted it, or what informed its formation, and what is it that you're aiming to achieve, and how have people reacted to it?
I'm a biokineticist by profession, so basically I deal with physical activity on a daily basis. Where returning to Empangeni, where I'm based now, I realized that the biggest challenge is getting people to understand the need for physical activity, not just children, even the elderly, even people our age. Why is it so important for people to be physically active? We realize that a lot of people think and put money first and say, okay, I don't have money to go to the gym. There's so many excuses. So we then decided, why don't we come together as professionals in the field to then try and offer such services to the rural communities and to the townships where we promote physical activity. The idea then came about, we came together, it's biokineticists, dietitians, social workers, a group that comes together to say, let us offer you these services free of charge. We go to different communities, we offer what you can offer, but above that, we do then set up a few studios. It's small functional studios that we set up to show people that it not necessarily must be a big gym. A lot of people will go to a big gym, they just like the name and how fancy it is. Set up a studio wherever you are and get people to be active. It is much easier, much cheaper, and we can actually do it in the townships, because that's where the focus is. Let us bring it back to the township. When you go to Durban, people are used to exercise. But as soon as you start going backwards to the rural areas, people think that, no, that's not for me. It's for a different person. People think, okay, I will only exercise if I need to get a six-pack, whereas it's not necessarily the truth. We're focusing on heart health. We're focusing on diabetes, as I've mentioned. We're focusing on hypertension. We're focusing on a lot of things. So this NPO came up as a solution to say, let us try and deal with these issues before they actually affect the communities. However, you'll find that someone has already got into such issues. So then we have to advise them, how do you go forward? You're already on medication. So what things you can do that are safe for you, that won't counteract your medication? What exercises that you can do that are safe for you? The biggest excuse I've heard was someone who's complaining about joints and say when they exercise they get painful joints and all that, especially the elderly. And contrary to that, you realize that actually exercise will help you alleviate that pain. So it's basically us trying to educate the community to say, listen, physical activity is the way to go. It's basically the first thing you need to think of before anything else.
And having said that, Mr. Linda, I mean, obesity is not only exclusive to children. As you've mentioned, adults as well are affected. You mentioned diabetes, you mentioned hypertension, and I do understand that you also do health screening for the elderly to fight diabetes and hypertension. Do tell us more about that.
Yeah, the idea was people only think of health screening when they already have something going on. They're going to see a doctor because they've got something they don't understand. They want to get a checkup. Or they go through health screening because at work it is forced that they need to go through that. We're trying to promote people to actually go out there and get this done without anyone forcing them to do. So if on a regular basis, you check your blood pressure, you check your glucose levels, you will be able then to pick up if there's any changes or the trend that is not ideal for you. So we try and do that. So we host in the rural areas where we go to the communities, in most cases using the aerobics instructors, because they are helping a lot in what we're trying to do. In the different townships that they will host different events. So we come in as an organization to help set up those events, so that by so doing we'll be able to come closer to the communities and be able to offer the services. We also do offer in the likes of corporate wellness as well, where some companies will say, Mondli, can we have your organization helping us with A, B, C, and D? And then we go to them as well. But basically, the idea is, let us come together, let us go to these communities and actually make sure people understand how important it is to actually know if your heart is beating at the right pace, because a lot of people don't even know where it should be. A lot of people don't even know what hypertension or blood pressure per se, at what value it should be if it's normal and all that, up until it's too late. There was a time where I went to one rural community and we checked blood pressure. A very healthy person, everything was normal, but the blood pressure was skyrocketing at 168 over 90, if I'm not mistaken. Because those are things we don't take seriously up until it's too late. You'll realize that a day or two after that, anything could happen. We're talking about issues which could arise, such as heart attack. Issues could arise, such as a stroke. There's so many things we can avoid by just knowing what values to sit at.
You know, Mr. Mondli Linda, I mean, your services are what South Africans need right now. Thank you so much for chatting to us. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.